So good morning and welcome. Welcome to second Open Networking Summit. I am Guru Parulkar. I am served as the summit chair. I want you to meet Asena Jensel, who is the vice chair. Asena has worked very hard to create a very enjoyable and stimulating experience for you at the summit. She even arranged 3 days of sunny weather in very rainy April month in Bay Area, which is unusual, but she was able to manage that very well. We are of course very pleased with all the excitement for OpenFlow and software-defined networking and all the interest that people have shown in Open Networking Summit. As you know, we doubled or more than doubled in size in 6 months, and still we have number of people on the waiting list that unfortunately we could not accommodate. I want to take a minute to tell you about Open Networking Summit. I want you to know 3 things about Open Networking Summit. The first thing is that we want Open Networking Summit to continue to be the premier event for OpenFlow and software-defined networking. What that means is that a forum where all of us come together to share the latest and greatest development with OpenFlow and software-defined networking. A forum where we come together to meet with people and network with people that care about all aspects of OpenFlow and software-defined networking. And finally, a forum where beginners can come and quickly learn and come up to speed so they can participate in this new paradigm of networking, a new revolution in networking. So that is the first thing. The second thing I want you to know about ONS is that the quality of content is paramount for us. We want to make sure that we deliver the best program to you, and that is our promise to you. And we want to make sure nothing comes in the way of delivering the best program. So, for example, none of the speaking slots, none of the exhibit slots are offered in return for any kind of sponsorship. Each and every presentation and exhibit has to make a case how they are going to make the program better, and that is how they get into the program. Okay? Finally, I want to tell you that Open Networking Summit, these events are now owned and run by a non-profit organization called ONS Inc. The goal of ONS Inc. is to bring OpenFlow and SDN developments to the larger SDN community for the benefit of the larger SDN community. The goal is not to make profit for any shareholders, and in that sense we are a very unique industry event organizer where our goal is to be non-profit and still try to make the SDN community larger and let the SDN community benefit from this. Okay, now I want to just make a couple of observations about OpenFlow and SDN. The first one is, as you can imagine from the event like this, that OpenFlow and SDN, they continue to gain momentum. And the second observation I want to make is that OpenFlow and SDN are becoming more and more real. Of course, we have a long ways to go to make OpenFlow and SDN the new norm of networking, as Dan Pitt likes to call it, right? However, the progress has been amazing during the past year or two. Let me give you a couple of proof points for that. There are more than 65 companies that joined Open Networking Foundation during this past 1 year. Let us take a minute to browse through these companies. And so when you look at this list, you can see that there are companies that come from across the networking and the cloud infrastructure space. There are companies that are small or large. Some of them are venture funded companies now. There are several venture funded startup companies that are part of this group. There are large and small service providers of different types. There are vendors of different types, chip vendors, equipment vendors, software vendors that are part of this ecosystem, and there are enterprises that are part of this ecosystem as well. So the bottom line is that all the companies across this ecosystem are starting to realize the value of OpenFlow and SDN, and not only that, they are doing their best to make OpenFlow and SDN real. And again, as a proof point, I am just giving you a very small sampling of announcements that have happened in last 6 months, and they are trying to tell you that companies are doing their best to introduce new products, new technologies, new use cases. They are announcing new customers and so on. And this is just a small sampling. Even yesterday there were half a dozen announcements from different companies that I could not put on my slides as yet. If you look at the exhibits at Open Networking Summit, there are exhibits by 20 or more companies, and again these exhibits show how the companies are working towards developing products, technologies, new use cases, and new partnerships. In addition to developments in the industry, there is a lot of action in the research community as well. More and more universities are starting to explore OpenFlow and SDN as a research topic. More and more universities are wanting to experiment with OpenFlow and SDN and deploy OpenFlow and SDN in their production network. There are more than half a dozen now workshops that are dedicated to this topic in the research community. In this context, I want to take a minute to bring your attention to our own research center that we just started with Berkeley. It is an open networking research center with 2 missions. One mission is to develop a comprehensive intellectual framework for SDN, and the second mission is to build and deploy open source SDN tools and platforms for the benefit of the larger community.